Hello guys, today we are in Schlachthof in Wiesbaden and we are here with Sean from Drag Thunder
Hello.
from the States.
Yes.
And yeah, Sean, it's the first time in Europe or?
Yeah, first time in Europe and specifically Germany. So this is our first show in the country.
Okay.
So we're excited.
Where you played before you come here?
So we initially started the tour in the UK,
Mhm.
and then after we finished that up, we did like 5 or 6 shows. Then we drove to Paris. So
Yeah.
that's technically our first day in Europe, and then we did Hellfest down in
Oh,
Clisson,
fine.
which is great.
Nice.
And then after that, actually I lied. I totally spaced on this. We played Mainstream.
Okay.
So that was our first official German show. So it was a great turnout too. It's an awesome festival.
Okay.
So yeah, this is our second German show.
I think Hellfest was a big crowd, huh?
It was amazing. It was the most people we've ever played to. I think they said that there was roughly 10,000 people
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
crowd,
yeah.
and it's pretty intimidating. But it's what you always wish you can get to that point in your career is playing that size of stage and with that many people in front of it.
I know myself, I'm a musician too, I know.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's a big feeling, yeah.
Yeah, you're like almost standing side stage and you're like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
But then you just go for it. You're like,
Oh,
oh yeah, 100%, always. But that's the challenge of always pushing through those those kind of uncomfortable feelings of you love what you do and you're there to express yourself.
When you play in the UK, because your music is in Germany, the most people say is punk rock, it's metalcore,
Yeah.
Things like that. The UK is so one of the roots of the punk rock.
Yeah.
With which venues you play? You have a bigger UK bands you play with on the tour?
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, the band that we were supposed to play the remaining 3 dates with, unfortunately, had to cancel. So
Okay.
it's just gonna be us tonight, and I believe for the rest of the last couple shows here. But we played with a few other bands that were local to the UK area, which were awesome guys and gals too as well. So, as far as the presence, yeah, they had a big following.
Mhm.
It was very helpful to have that kind of support, especially our first time coming over here,
Mhm.
UK or Europe. We had no expectation of how many people were going to show up to these headline shows.
Yeah.
So, and luckily we've done very well. A handful of the shows were sold out. So it was quite flattering to have that kind of response the first time coming over here.
Okay. The origins of the band are in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I know Seattle is also very famous for some stuff of music.
Yeah, just
And
a small group.
what your biggest influences on your music style? What do you think?
I would say collectively, I mean, I've had this discussion with a lot of the guys of like where everyone's roots come from, and anything from punk rock to metalcore to hard rock is really collectively what we try to, where we stem our inspiration from.
Mhm.
And like you said too, like growing up in the Seattle area, it's hard to deny that a lot of those bands, like Nirvana and Soundgarden, specifically like influenced us to pick up instruments. So there's definitely ties and roots associated with that too as well.
Mhm.
So I mean, but as far as inspiration for the music, I mean, are you talking like specific bands or just sounds or? Yeah, I mean, as far as specific bands, I mean, Rise Against is definitely one. I would say comparatively,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
say we sound like Rise Against or, I think of a few other bands, but that one specifically,
Okay.
like metal punk rock.
So you found the band in 2019, I think.
What was that?
Yeah. So you're founding of the band of the
Founding member? No, I'm actually not in the
Yeah, you're
membership.
not a founding member, but the band is founded 2019, I think. I think not so old. Drag Down
Yeah, no, actually, so the band actually started in 2019.
19 years.
Yeah, so it was basically picking up the scraps from Fluff and Tony's previous band, Rest
Yeah.
Repose,
Yeah.
and then, fast forward and we're here now.
Okay. I think when you play together now, you have cancelled the show last year. I think because of the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. So I believe, maybe not all these specific shows, but our plans to come to Europe have been put off for the last 2 years. So, yeah, especially due to the pandemic. I think
Yeah.
2020 and then 2021 were the years we were supposed to be here.
Was it difficult for you in America too to play in some venues, or is easier than here in Europe because we have a lot of rules in the pandemic time?
Yeah, I mean, comparatively, I mean, I knew a handful of bands that were over here had to immediately leave when the pandemic started, or else they would have gotten locked down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when I specifically was being recruited during that time. They had just gotten off the road with the Used. I think it was end of January in 2020, and then instantly the world shut down. So, it did take a good year and a half, almost 2 years before we actually officially went out again. So yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything really in between other than a live stream that we did, because that's what we were legitimately, that was our only opportunity to keep our presence and still play. So, that's what a lot of bands did as well. But it's very fulfilling to finally actually like be here and be playing shows, and like all the little things that happen when you're like on the road being tired and having to do these long drives. You're like,
I have a chance to drink very good beer here.
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
So I think a few weeks ago I read a review about your new album, and you have plans for another one, or is yours first go on tour or planning to tour, or you have the next songs on the backside and planning the next one?
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying our best to continuously come up with ideas for the next record, but unfortunately, I mean, the first record that was put out by the guys, they didn't really get to tour it. And that is really tragic because it's a great record, and the only tour they got to do was with the Used.
Yeah.
And so now that cycle's done, we really want to honestly just like tour as much as we possibly can before we write another record.
Yeah. Okay. So we're looking forward to see the show in the evening.
Yes.
And we hope for a good show, and we hope for a lot of people here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you, Sean, for the interview.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me.
Have a nice time.
I will. I'll see you in the mosh pit.
Bye-bye.
Bye.